Hey, Jared, you're at the Red Bull factory. Yay! Are you excited? Can you unzip your jacket? Nice. And who's our favorite Formula One race car driver?
That's our Sabbath.
Yeah.
On our drive east from Wales to East Anglia, we couldn't miss the opportunity for a quick photo at the entrance to the Red Bull factory in Milton Keynes. But when the guard saw us at the gate taking photos, he invited us inside to have a look around the trophy room, where they also had a V8-era car hanging sideways on the wall.
What does warm mean?
Don't know.
What does oil mean?
Don't know.
Oh, is this pit confirmed?
Yep.
Oh, cool. That's really cool. This is a sideways Red Bull. This is Jared. This is pretty exciting.
No, I need to be going this way.
Our first official stop was Cambridge. Wandering the city, we heard organ music coming from a little church, so we walked inside and heard this.
This is behind the scenes vacation footage. You think it's all glamour. National Trust point-to-point races. Tearing down single-track lanes in rural England and Wales.
Sometimes just putting away dishes.
Sometimes you just have to put away the dishes.
Okay. Good. Still don't know where they hooked up. Here they go.
Look at how good she is at finding the dishes.
I think this one was.
This is after a week and a half of Airbnb. A special level of skill.
After a night's sleep in our Airbnb in Norfolk, it was back to visiting Grand National Trust houses. First up was Felbrigg Hall in Norwich. Between 1621 and 1624, Sir John Wyndham and his son Thomas constructed the south front out of the carcass of an early Tudor building. Remarkably, many of the rooms still have the original plasterwork. The last owner of Felbrigg, before it was gifted to the National Trust, had a Victory V avenue of trees planted to celebrate the Allied victory and commemorate his brother Richard, who died in World War II.
Oh, baby. Hi, pretty girl. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Nice garden you got here.
The 18th century octagonal dovecote at Felbrigg Hall was originally built to provide fertilizer and fresh meat. We did not mention this to the doves that we saw. In the city of Norwich, we visited Tombland Alley. During the end of the 16th century, Norwich experienced an outbreak of the plague. Many of the victims are buried in the churchyard adjacent to the alley. Legend has it the residents of the Augustine Stewart house died of the plague and were boarded up inside the house. But, as the story goes, one young girl was still alive and subsequently starved to death. Her ghost is said to haunt the alley. course, a visit to Norwich isn't complete without seeing the famous cathedral. Construction began in 1096. When it was completed, the cathedral was the largest building in East Anglia and occupied a tenth of the total area of the medieval city. The first spire was made of wood covered in lead and was completed in 1297, but was blown down during a storm in 1362. 100 years later, the second spire was struck by lightning. In flames, it collapsed through the nave roof, causing a fire so intense it turned some of the structure's cream-colored limestone to a pink hue. In 1485, the spire that remains today was completed. It is the second tallest in England. We sought out the grave of Thomas Gooding, a cathedral mason who died in 1600. He paid a great sum of money to be buried upright, believing it would give him an advantage come Judgment Day. The next day, we headed south to Suffolk and visited Ickworth Estate. What do you think, Jared?
It's pretty big.
What are you doing? Rude.
Why don't we have any busts in our house? I feel shabby in comparison. There's busts aplenty.
You better get carving.
I cannot carve.
Yeah, you could try. One of the more modern buildings we've seen on our trip, the house was built between 1795 and 1829. It was the creation of Frederick Hervey, 4th Earl of Bristol and Bishop of Derry, who commissioned an Italian architect to design him a classical villa in the Suffolk countryside. The Silver Collection is the National Trust's second most extensive, with an astonishing collection of 18th century dining silver. Originally intended to function as an art gallery as much as a home, Ickworth has works by Titian, Velázquez, Hogarth, and Gainsborough, just to name a few. As I've said before, the servants' quarters are the most interesting to me. The 4th Marchioness of Bristol, Lady Theodora Hervey, made significant improvements to the servants' quarters in the early 20th century, including adding electric lights, hot water, and new bathrooms.
So the gauge reads to 350 psi, which is a lot. Yeah. Although is that? No, it doesn't. It only reads to 120. That's temperature goes to 350. And it's a single pipe steam system, it looks like. So the water condenses in and comes back out as steam.
What I want to know is, which volunteer has to polish all these copper pots? Next, to Melford Hall in Sudbury. The hall was mostly constructed in the 16th century, incorporating parts of a medieval building that dates to 1065. The heritage sheep overshadowed the house for us. We took a guided tour with the shepherdess, who shared her enthusiasm and respect for the various breeds in her care. We drove to nearby Lavenham, a medieval village in Suffolk that is remarkably preserved. With a thriving wool trade, the town grew so fast that many of the houses were built in haste with green timber. As the wood dried, the timbers warped, causing the houses to bend at unexpected angles. The survival of these 600-year-old buildings is due to a dramatic decline in the village's fortunes. As weavers of more fashionable cloth moved to nearby Colchester and Norwich, once rich Lavenham became poor and its residents unable to keep up with the latest architectural styles. By the time the house timbers started twisting, Lavenham's families had lost their wealth, and with no money to rebuild their homes, the crooked houses were left as they were. The result is Britain's best preserved medieval village. The most famous structure is known as the Crooked House. It's said to be the inspiration for an Old English nursery rhyme. There was a crooked man, and he went a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence against a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a little crooked house. Our jaws dropped at Lavenham Guildhall. By the late 14th century, Lavenham was the center of the East Anglian woolen cloth trade. Its specialized production of woad-dyed broadcloths was known as Lavenham blue. The wealthy merchants of Lavenham built the Guild of Corpus Christi in 1529 as a place to gather. As the village's fortunes changed, so too did the use of the Guildhall. By 1689, the Guildhall was in use as a bridewell, a type of village lockup, and from 1787 it was used as a workhouse. Today, this ancient timber-framed building houses exhibitions on the evolution of the Guildhall, from cloth trade to workhouse, bringing to life stories of some of the people who once lived and worked here. Dyes were created using the famous Lavenham woad, a plant in the mustard family, as well as tickseed, tansy, yarrow, and St. John's wort. And then we feasted.
How good was that?
It was terrible. We could barely choke it down.
So good. This is called the Swan.
Nope, that's not the Swan.
The Crown.
It's the Crown.
At whatever town we're in, we'll find out. Jared, what is the correct name of this? Oh, wait, there we go.
It's the Crown Bilston.
Bilston. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Fantastic. Best meal we've had.
We'll go back every time we're in this town.
Just taking pictures of random places, Jared.
Yeah, it's just people live there.
Our last stop was in Great Yarmouth at the Time and Tide Museum. This immersive museum tells the maritime history of this seaside town. We wandered through a recreated Victorian row, narrow passageways where rich and poor lived and worked side by side. The museum is housed in an old herring curing factory, which closed in the mid-1980s. In Great Yarmouth, herring was king. In its heyday, fishermen hauled in enough for every family in Great Britain to have a ton of herring each year. The herring was salted, dried, and smoked in this building, which still bears the scent of this centuries-old process. The term red herring, meaning an action trying to deceive or divert attention, can be traced to the strong smell of cured fish. In popular fiction, criminals use dried herring to throw dogs off the scent.
We made it to the beach.
This is the beach. East Coast beach.
Edge of the world.
You fall off when you get much farther.
You're going to put your feet in the water?
No.
Why? You're scared.
Our last night in England, we happened upon a small farm with the world's friendliest goats.
You're so cute. You just love scratches, don't you? You should too.
Oh, they're gonna make me into mutton.
That's sheep, sweetie. Hi.
Oh, they call it when it's good.
Hi. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi. I know, I don't have snacks, but I can scratch you. You're so sweet. Oh, you're so cute. You're so beautiful. Good job. Love you. That's all. Oh, hello. Okay. Jared, can we have goats?
No goats.
Jared.
Nope.
Why? We have plenty of room for goats.
You know, they try to escape and die.
No.
And we have a high-speed road.
These goats are good goats. They would never do
You know
that.
how much mess it would make if you had a roadkill goat?
Jared, that goat is snuggling you.
It's really getting lots of eye goobers on my pants. Okay,
Hi,
that's
baby.
good.
You're good. Can we get goats?
No!
Can we have some sheep?
I don't think so.
Sheep, Jared.
No sheep.
Then we came home to our own petting zoo.
Guys! These are babies!
I got my little buddy.
Hi! Do you remember who we are? Hello!
Nobody cares about me.
Hello, Birdie! Hi! Hi!
That's my buddy. Yes, my sweet
Did you
buddy.
have so much fun?
Hi, good boy. Hi, good boy.
Yes, I love the babies. Hi! Pretty kisses. Hi, Lord. Hi, buddy. Hi, good boy.